Could you all make Noah feel welcome?
Hi everyone. It's a bit weird me being up here. It's not that I'm not a good speaker or anything. In fact, I would like to believe it's one of my more redeeming qualities. But I never thought I'd be up here giving a TEDx talk, and I never thought I'd have to try and remember a 15-minute speech and keep you all engaged that long, as I know most of our attention spans kind of cap out around 3 minutes. If you look at a lot of photos of me from a couple of weeks ago, I'm sleeping in most of them. But to try and keep you all engaged this amount of time, one thing that I don't think anyone else is going to be doing today, I'm going to call out one random seat number, and the person in that seat, whenever I call out that seat number, is going to have to get up and tell me 2 things that's resonated with them from my speech so far. Now, you might be there thinking, you might be there thinking, what am I going to talk about? You might be listening to what I'm saying up here and having to think. Well, that's exactly it. I'm going to be talking about listening. Listening is such an important skill, and it's something we learn from a very, very early age. But a lot of us have lost the ability or willingness to want to listen to one another in our everyday lives. I understand the irony of giving a 15-minute talk about listening, but I hope the irony of that won't be lost on you. As to quote Simon and Garfunkel, listening is more than just hearing. To quote Simon and Garfunkel, people hearing without listening. It is something that unites us from the anthems played in our stadiums to the words spoken in a eulogy. Who I am, and so much of that, comes from my heritage, my friends and family, and what I've learned throughout my life. These are the factors that have shaped me into the person I am proud to be today. The art of listening is fundamentally entwined with the human experience, a truth that becomes apparent in our earliest stages of life. As little bubs, we learn so much. We learn by listening, we learn language, a tool to express ourselves and engage with the world around us. But this foundational skill is so often taken for granted, but it lays the groundwork for every stage in our lives. Throughout life, we are constantly learning. I learn something new every day. Listening has taught me so much about the world around me, my family, and myself. How many of us here have been told a story about our mums, our dads, our aunties, our uncle, about something silly we used to do when we were a little kid, or something stupid we did once as a baby? Don't be ashamed, put your hands up. Okay. Now keep your hand up if you remember that happening to you when you were a little baby, or you remember doing that. Now statistically, most of you should have put your hand down. We learn so much about ourselves at our early stages by listening to those who were there. And this is a brilliant example of how listening teaches us more about ourselves than we like to think. The wealth of insight listening can unveil for us is shown when we listen to our own family history and look at how it's reflected in our own families. 25 Reed Street, Narrabri. It's opposite the train line and a 15-minute walk from Narrabri Creek. Whilst I've never been there, this house holds great significance to me, as it is the house of my great-great-grandparents who I've never met. But I am connected to this place and to them via my family, the Dacey family, my paternal grandma's side of the family. My grandma is a true storyteller. She is the bridge between my family's roots in northwest New South Wales and our current family here in Sydney, which she forged when she moved down here at the age of 11. This is a brilliant example of how listening to those in our family and those in our lives connect us deep with them and those who we love. An exploration into the realm of oral history highlights the significance that listening plays in our lives. Through listening, we are able to cultivate a comprehension of the world around us and our own identities as a whole. These narratives that are passed down from generation to generation give us invaluable insights we can't get anywhere else. We can't find them in a book, and we can't find them in a library. They serve as the thread weaving together our collective human experiences, bridging the past into the present and helping us create a more enlightened future. As an Aboriginal person, I have a very strong connection to the land, to country, and to my culture, and it's something I'm very proud of. And a key part of this that I've been taught from a little baby is that we listen to our elders and our knowledge holders. Not only out of respect for them, but they are giving us a gift. They are giving us the gift of their cultural knowledge that has been bestowed upon them to hand down to us. And we not only listen out of respect, but we listen because we have a responsibility to look after our own culture. This is the cornerstone of Aboriginal culture, and it's something that has allowed us to be the world's oldest continuing culture. I was once told a story by an auntie about my people and our relationship with a plant, the old man saltbush. The old man saltbush is a small plant, grows about 1 metre tall, grey silver leaves growing out in western New South Wales, out towards desert country. It's an important plant for the people of that area as it's incredibly high in protein. The word used in a lot of this area when talking about ears is binners, but binners is also a word used to describe parts of the old man saltbush, in particular the leaves, and that is because the leaves look like ears. And to us, it's not just something that looks like, they are ears. They are the ears of country. They remind us not only to listen to country, but also country is always listening to us. And we must speak to country. We must respect country and do what is right by country. They are also the ears of our old people, and they remind us to listen to our elders, both past and elders in the dreaming. I work with country, both for a job and in my free time, and I have seen how listening to country and working with country creates a better outcome for country. Listening to country is not just listening with our ears, but it's listening with all 5 senses: taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. We look and observe at the different stages that plant and animals go out throughout the year, and we use these to see how to look after country. For us, when we see the wattle bloom on the east coast, we don't just see a pretty flower. We see a calendar. It reminds us that the mullet and the whales will be coming past soon, and that we must do what's right for us to make sure we get the food we need, but also so we can protect these beautiful creatures. When we hear the brush turkey making a nest in our backyard, it's not just an annoying pile of leaves we're eventually going to have to move. But for us, it's a reminder that we, much like the bush turkey, must clean country. But for us, we're not raking the leaves into a pile. We use cool burning to remove the leaf litter off the ground and make sure country is safe for when the hot season comes. This is how we look after country, by listening, by using our senses to observe the world around us. And it's an example of how listening creates a better outcome for everybody involved. And if we can see that this works, why don't we listen to the voice of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people when it comes to making their own decisions, making decisions that affect them? As the people of Australia, we have been given an opportunity to listen to this voice. All Australians of the age of 18 later this year will be given a choice to see if they want to have this voice heard. This voice, an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice to government, will give Aboriginal people a system and a structure to make genuine and effective representation to the Australian government. By having a say, it leads to greater self-determination for Aboriginal people, as we are able to take back control of some of the decisions that affect our lives every day. As the most disadvantaged population in Australia, it is so important that we listen and let there be space for mob's voice in the issues that are really important to them. Aboriginal people and this voice has been used as a political football for far too long, and by enshrining it in the Constitution, it ensures that we have long and effective change for mob going into the future. But it isn't only in Indigenous affairs where we need to listen to those with lived experience. We need to listen to lived experience in all areas of government, and it should be the foundation of policy, and it should be the foundation of parliamentary life. As people that on the ground that have this lived experience are the ones that have to go through what is decided in Parliament. The stuff decided in Parliament through acts, through members voting, is their daily lives, is the thing that impacts them when they wake up and when they go to bed. As an advocate in many areas, I try to bring my lived experience into as many things I can do as possible. And I have what most would consider a fairly decent amount of lived experience for someone my age. from losing my dad when I was 9 to issues with the health and the education system. I aim to bring it into my work and the lived experience of those around me to create better outcomes for whatever area I'm advocating for. But this can only be done if governments want to listen. And we have to make sure governments and people in power get on board to make better change. I can't go back in time and change it for little Noah. I can't go back in time and change it for my family. But I can make sure that those in the similar positions never have to go through the stuff me and my family have had to go through. So often in modern life, there is a resistance to listening. We as a society need to come together. We need to listen to one another, and by listening to one another, we're able to create a more sound future. Thank you.